All right. Good evening. Welcome to episode 7 of Jeremy Makes Stuff. Um, had some technical difficulties this evening, so there was a little delay getting going here. um, Software updates, camera problems, etc., etc. But only 30 minutes late, and we're here. We're ready to rock. So, um, I think this is going to be the last episode about this digital microscope magnifying glass thing been working on for the last few episodes. Excuse me. One second. Um, it's been fun. Hopefully, we'll be done here with this one, and you can move on to something else. Have some programming stuff coming up, some Raspberry Pi stuff, and some other fun things. So the 3D printer is a lot of fun, but it's just one of the many tools, one of the many projects. Um, so see if we can round this out. Started out drawing out a design on paper, modeled in 3D, had some done some prints over the last week. I want to show off a few pieces, discuss a few things, and then we're gonna have to modify few of the a few of the models since when designing something on the computer and 3D printing it, once you get your hands on it and actually see how things fit together, sometimes it's not always exactly how you expect. So, with that, I've got camera set up on the desk. There we go. And I'm going to show you a few things. So, first of all, we have these lenses. Hopefully, this will be clear and in focus. So, we have these lenses, and we want to um, attach them. And first, we printed this test jig, which showed us a few things. One, this was obviously way too thick, way too tall. And two, the inner circle we had here was too small. So iterate, smaller piece. So the lens will actually get it on there. Snap inside. And the reason we didn't want the taller piece was because the closer to the camera's lens, the magnifying lens is, the better. So if it's this far versus this far, the closer the better. So that worked out. That was the main piece that really had to fit some uh, mechanical size, or you know, it really made a difference as to what was being printed as far as connecting to other physical objects. The old phone itself is just going to set in the stand, no problem there. Um, so then I started printing the smaller stuff first. First, the pin, and then the wing nuts. Now, you'll notice this pin here has a wobble to it. It turns out there was a design flaw in the 3D file. It was supposed to be 10 millimeters by 10 millimeters. It ended up being 10 millimeters by 11 millimeters. So it's kind of hard to tell here, but it's actually taller on one side. So if I roll it, it doesn't roll smoothly. It has that wobble to it. So yeah, so you can see it wobbling there. So reprinted that. Updated the file, reprinted that, made sure it was 10, and you can see it It's pretty smooth now. So it is actually a round piece and not oval. Also, you'll notice the end of this one, the first test one, is broken. I had some problems with the wing nuts. So I 3D printed another little just test pin. You can see here the wings are actually breaking off the wing nuts, first of all. Secondly, the actual hole inside this one, another piece broke off inside of it as well. The hole inside was too tight, so I was having to apply a lot of pressure, which caused the wings to break off. Also, the shape and design of these wings um, are, because the angles are pretty sharp, and it hurts fingers to twist them. So one thing we're going to do tonight is modify the wing nut design. I've already adjusted the width of the threading inside, so that's already fine. Um, this is kind of weird. I have the camera set up on the right hand side of the screen because I've got some new shadow issue that I haven't figured out. And you can see my shadow here. um, I'm pointing to my left, which is on the right, which is the background. Anyway, fun stuff. Um, always learning. So anyway, we're gonna have to adjust those because that hurts on the sides there. You can see it's even on one of these. I'm not sure which one, but one of these I even used supports to print the wings just to see if it would smooth out the sharper edges. It's almost serrated. Not sure if you can see that. Yeah, it's kind of. Oh, I can't point to it, but yeah, you can see it's almost a serrated edge there. It's just thick plastic. It's not really gonna cause any problems or anything. But after a while of fighting with it, it was a little painful. So not exactly the best experience. So we want to adjust that. Want to be as safe as possible. Um, Also, I still wasn't quite happy with the main arm piece that the phone sits on because when we printed the test jig, it printed specifically so that see, let me get the side correct. Yeah, here. It printed specifically so that the connection points were on the top. So it's printing layer by layer by layer, and the gap was on the top so that it didn't need the system didn't think it needed supports under it, which would then fill the gaps. You have to break them out, and it's difficult sometimes, and could actually cause other issues. So, let me bring up the file in Tinkercad here. Bring it over here. All right. So, still not 100% happy with this top piece here because this side needs to be on the top whenever it's printed. So the orientation, I think in the last episode we looked at different orientations and talked about supports in 3D printing, as well as the like looked at the different times and amount of filament it used and all that kind of stuff. But realistically, because this lens holder connector piece right here is what really matters to this whole design. If rotate this here, it's going to be best if that is printed at this angle. So the problem with this is it's better to start with as much of a flat surface as possible when printing too. Or we have to use, pardon me, or we have to use supports and break the supports out and all this other kind of stuff. because like supports would have to go right here, and supports would have to go all along here, and supports would have to come under here because of the actual little like shelf here that the phone is on. So, and all of that is because we need these holes with the actual connection points. I can get that in a good spot. You can see it. Come on. There we go. So these little notches here and here really need to be on the top layer. So two things we want to do this evening. Then one, I'm going to redesign the wings on the wing nut back here. And two, I'm actually going to remove this section and break this hinge piece into two pieces, so it'll have the hinge with a hole, and this arm that comes up here will sort of, it'll have a tab at the bottom, and it'll plug into it and use some glue or whatever. um and like I said, I already adjusted the size on the pin, but I think since it was breaking at it was breaking off on the end when I was tightening them, I there were two reasons it was breaking. One, the gap inside of the um, wing nut was too small. But two, I only did, I think this is 20% infill. So there wasn't a lot of stuff in there. So when turning it, it just was too weak and it broke off. So I've already adjusted the size. This is the oval one. This is the round one. The round one is going to be in the final design. Also, this one, I believe I printed it 20% infill as well. So need a little more infill. Otherwise, it's going to, you know, break off. Oop, there it went. Otherwise, it'll break too easy. So you can see the hatching pattern there. So need more infill. Handle that on the print. Let's see, where did my Tinkercad window go? So, but I already resized this so that it's 10 by 10 instead of 10 by 11. And so just need to break this one apart, adjust the wings, and then hopefully everything will print fine. And I'll just do a small update next week or something, maybe just showing how it's working. So see here. If see, we had a viewer in the chat. If anybody comes by, be sure and say hello. I try to keep an eye on that too while streaming. If I miss you, my apologies. Let's see, first off, let's start with the wing nut here. Ungroup everything. And the wings were a pretty good distance. We could do different here though. Maybe if it was curved out a little closer. Let's see, let's play around here. Do I need to ungroup this again? Yes. Rotate this. Kind of shove it over here. I don't know, maybe something kind of like that. Now, when it was when I printed out this way, this side was pretty sharp, and then because it's only connected by this little bit here, they were breaking off. Let's see, I want to make sure this lines up on the bottom. My grid snap, which is behind me in the screen. Myself over. Whoa! goofy shadow. Saw that shadow issue. Snap grid is too big. Gonna go smaller. Adjust this around. Oh, hey, Sajesh. Sajesh dropped by. He's in the chat there. I think you just missed the introduction. Making a few adjustments. Had some printing issues. See some broken pieces here. So working out a few design flaws this evening. And then hopefully we'll be done with this project. Let's see. All right, so that was up there. And to make this a little bit wider, it has a little more plastic to work with. Let's go, I don't know, make it twice as wide at 4. And I'll duplicate it on the other side and align it all. Rotate around. Come on, all the way. Oh, nope, too far. There you go. So, oh, no. Find these guys. There, and come on. Things are acting a little slow there. Try this again. Align. There we go. That's better. And this one. Adjust the grid again. Now I don't want it to cross into the threads, but this is 7 on this side. Let me drop a ruler down here. That'll help. There we go. See some numbers. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Shave off. Didn't go the direction I wanted. I'll do that. I'll just grab it and move myself just a little bit. Oh, grid snap is still the one. Go down to 0.25 millimeters. Shift this over. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3/4 of a millimeter. That's fine. And do the same on this one. 6.25. All right. And the height right now is 16. So I'm thinking about the second one go. Okay. So now we've taken, I'll switch to the other camera. It might be easier to see. So we've taken this piece, and one of these was about to break off. Let's see. This one, yeah. Go. Now it'll be here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. That should be pretty good. And it's twice as thick. Let's see. Line those up with the half sphere now. Just grab everything. And let's see. Looks pretty good. Um, Hopefully, since now there will be more support coming from here, um, the wings that are further out won't break off, and the angle now, the way it's printing, the angle now will be coming from the top of the printer instead of off to the side of the printer, so it won't become that serrated plastic. And already just from messing with it, you probably can't see, but I've got some indentions on my finger just from twisting them. So I'm gonna make sure that's safe in case somebody else, or my nephew, comes over and wants to look at his bug collection up close or something. He didn't hurt himself. Um, all right, that looks pretty good. To that back into a single piece. That's not bad. Cool. All right. So back up to this one. Um, the stream is not supported by DC Comics or Batman. Not intentional, if that's what that looks like. Let's see here now. Zoom in on this guy. So for this piece, like I said, we're going to break off this arm and make a connection pin here. So I need to ungroup a lot of this. But I want to make sure, oops, not that way. Shift this piece out. And connect those three pieces so that we don't mess up the connection joint there. Now, this was originally flush right here, so that like if I shift it back, right, this is a single edge, and this ends at the top there, so that actually might just work out to take this end of it, this section here from here to the end, as its own piece, or make a copy of it or whatever, and turn it into a hole and cut it out of here. Then that way this will just slide right in, fitting up against here and fitting up against there. So this will still be a solid chunk, and just a little drop of super glue or something there. Let's see. Tiger says, "Tell me what's going on. Got here late." Um, we had a few design flaws when we printed. Have some breaks and some incorrect sizes. So here you can see it's kind of wobbly because it wasn't round. There's broken wing nut. You can see the threaded pieces were breaking off for two reasons. One, there's only 25% 25% infill, and the hole inside the wing nut was too small. So making some adjustments. Let's see. Asking phone stand again, version 2. It's not version 2. It's still version 1. Just working out the flaws. So already I corrected the sizing issue with the pin. When I print that again, going to add additional infill. Adjusted the design of the wing nut so that the, let's see if I can show you here. Where's the position? See, it kind of, even with supports, it sort of made this serrated edge, which you can see here. Oh, Where's my hand? There we go. Right there. The serrated edge right there. Um, which not that big of a deal, but want it to be safe. Also, because it's only attached by a little bit of plastic there, um, it was breaking off when using too much torque to get it onto the whoops, dropped it onto the screw in there. So um, just a few design issues, and then when printing printing the test jig for the lens connector, it made a whole lot of sense to have the connection gap on the top, right, so that there weren't any sagging on the pieces. And then, so I'm adjusting the arm here to be its own piece, so it'll print separately, so it can be flat from this side, so that the connection holes are at the top when it prints. Let's see, Tiger says print the pin at a 45-degree angle on the X and Y on a raft. Um, that's a interesting idea too. I know I saw, Tiger, you were printing a, I think it was a hose connector for shop vac, and it was, most people think, oh, I'm going to print the shop vac connector like this because it's going to be circles and it's going to be great, but that would easily snap if too much pressure was given on the hose. So as you said, I think you printed 45-degree angle, and so it you know printed out um, with the layers at an angle going up, so it was stronger on the side that gave the pressure. Um, so that's another good thought. If what percentage of infill do you think that would need if we adjusted the angle of the print? Let's see, and I'll wait for your answer because I think it's like a 45-second delay here. While we're doing that, make a copy of this. And turn this one into a hole. And join those two. And that was quick and easy. I don't like that gap there. I thought this was flush. The Tiger says 20 to 30% with extra outer walls, maybe 5 instead of 3. All right, that sounds good. I'll give that a shot. The 45-degree angle. When you say 45 on X and Y, so it's going to be, normally it's this way. You're talking 45 this way and 45 that way on both axis. Shift this down. I hate that little arrow. It never wants to cooperate. Those. There we go. That's what I wanted. So now, bring this one back. Oops. Grid snap. Tiger says laying on the print bed, but diagonal. Okay, cool. Got a shot. Right, let's see if I can get these two to align again. Just make sure everything looks like what I expect. Come on. Go. That one. And so this piece, become a little bit lower. It's a demonstration. Yeah. Okay, cool. That'll slip right in there, and a little dab of super glue. Be perfect. Cool. And that'll let me print it flat like I wanted, so that the holes are here on the top. Um, and then for this piece, I think I'll end up printing it this orientation, and there'll be some supports here, but those will break off pretty easily, and I can sand down the hinge pieces. I'm gonna have to sand that down a little bit anyway because it's a pretty tight fit here. At least the center one a little bit. So I think that's it. Wasn't too bad. So I'm going to. I actually moved my 3D printer over on the shelf. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop these into Simplify 3D and align them and set up the files so I can put it on the SD card, take it over there, and then have a few other things we can look at. So let's see. I'm gonna export, select shape, STL, and it's just downloading there. That's cool. It's downloading to downloads, I think. So we've got the first set of files, which there's the second pin, and I had adjusted the wing nut size. I don't know, I'll call it version 3, I guess. It's not really a different version, but if it works. Let's see. Tiger says, "Do you want to glue? You've got plenty of room for error when the lens goes over the camera." Um, yes, there is a good amount of uh, space there, so that if it's a little high or a little low, it's still going to be okay. It's the the lens itself, the additional lens that plugs into it is pretty big, and the specific phone I have, it's got a pretty good size, lens piece on the camera too. So if it's off a little bit, it's still going to be okay. Um, so all right, let's see. This is the um, hinge top, and export the hinge bottom STL file. Come on, go bottom, and then the arm. Gonna make it itself. And then, I'm gonna go ahead and export this again, just to have it all in one place together. This is the pin. Oops. Ah, what happened? Where did my... Did I delete the folder? What happened here? Oh. Oh, I accidentally moved it to Dropbox. That was weird. Okay. Strange. What was this again? This is the pin. And the wing nut. Right. So that, let's bring up Simplify 3D. Hey, my brother Matt is watching. Hey Matt, how's it going? All right. So let's see. Tiger, I want to make sure I get this right based off of your suggestions. You're saying drop this in here and rotate on the y-axis 45 degrees. Is that what you're saying? So I'm going to move that up a little bit on the the settings here. 5 and 5. Fill up to 30. And see, we need draft. See, Tiger says 90 on X, then 45 on Y. All right, let's see what that looks like. On X, 45 on Y. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I was like, that was going to use a lot of supports. Okay, and that's not going to be any issue with the threading. Nice. Check that out. It's definitely not going to break the threading, as has happened multiple times here. As you can see in the picture there. So my brother asked, "What are you making? Just got here." This is the third episode um, where I presented a idea, drew it up on paper, modeled it in 3D, had some bad test prints, making some adjustments. So basically, I have an old Windows phone, and I have some of these lenses that go in like jeweler goggles. You can see they really like they go over these they go in these goggles, the little LEDs on them, which are pretty cool. But so I've got this old phone with a really nice camera on it, and I want to use these lenses with it to make like a digital microscope, and it has some different pieces that so how the lens will connect onto the stand and all that kind of crazy stuff. Um, whoops. So working out the print stuff here for the pieces. So there's a. I'm gonna drop everything in here just to show you real quick. There's a base piece, another piece to the hinge, a arm, some wing nuts, and the pin. So first, I'm setting up the pin. The Tiger says, "I want to be a guest host with you all night." Yeah, man, we need to get together. Um, your place, my place, somewhere in between. We go to the makerspace, you know, whatever. Hang out, do some stuff. Um, maybe eat some foreign candy. See here. So, all right. So that looks good. I'm going to prepare to print. Process 1. It's going to take an hour. So see here, since we turned on the raft, as Tiger suggested, it's going to print this extra bit of plastic here so that, like in the water, you would sit on a raft. So it's like floating there on above the print bed. So there's a couple different reasons you might want to do that. There's been a few of the prints I've done. The bed was level, but it was maybe too close to the print head. So the first couple layers will spread a little bit because it's being pushed down instead of it's being pushed down and out instead of just going down where it needs to be. Um, Without this raft, if there was bed issues like that, this would definitely not work for the round pin. Also, as we look at how the layers would print, you can see how that's definitely going to be stronger than the other direction, where it's just making circles and can easily, you know, ooh, snapped, which is not a good thing in a production environment. So that looks pretty good. It says it's going to take 1 hour and 1 minute. As we've discussed, that's usually a little short, and it'll probably be closer to an hour and a half. It's going to use 3,030.1 millimeters of filament, which works out to about 42 cents worth, and 0.02 pounds. So I'm going to save this to disk. I don't have my SD card in, so I'm going to save this in the same folder. Make a new folder inside the version 3 folder. G-code files. So there's the pin. Now, this will actually create, since we're here, I'll show you, two files, a G-code and an X3G. I'm not really sure what the X3G auto file is for. The When I put the two are when exporting, it'll go into the SD card with two files like that. I've had the SD card in, but you can also just put the G code file. So I'm not really sure what that's for. Tiger, do you have any ideas? Let's see. Matthew asks, do you have to cut or sand the raft away after you print? Um, if you look down here, let me zoom in here and back up some layers. So you see those these angled pieces it's doing here? Those are support pieces. So it's got a bigger gap. So you can see there's like these big gaps of space here in between here, opposed to down the middle. There's less gap, so it'll break off real easy, and you can sand it down a little bit to make it smoother or whatever, but um, usually it comes off pretty easily. Some of the models on Thingiverse come with supports built in, and one thing to think about and know about there is if you scale the model down, it can actually cause the supports to fuse. I've got this little Yoda figure I printed one time, and I scaled it down to like, I don't know, 30% just because I didn't want it to be big. I wanted it to be small. And the because I scaled it down, it closed the gaps and it fused the support. So I've got this little Yoda, but he's got like this stuff stuck on his head. It looks kind of weird. Let's see. Tiger says the original firmware for the CTC 3D printer, which is the one that I have. Tiger also has one of those as well as a few others. Didn't use normal G code, but it uses that X3G file thingy. So, interesting. And since Simplify 3D knows which printer, oh, not there, one of these. Oh, anyway, it knows which printer I have, and it's all set up for the correct bed size and all that kind of stuff. I guess it's exporting the two file types because it knows. All right, so the pin setup. Let's get, oops, to the arm next. This one is really important for orientation because if I can get the color here to show this gap right here, and it actually goes off inside there like a little cubby hole. so that the lens notches in. This gap, it's better to be on top. If it were, which is why we broke it off the top piece of the hinge, so that we can print this separately. I'm going to rotate this one on the z-axis, degrees, center and arrange, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the 45 degrees on the y-axis. Nope, not the y-axis. What am I doing? 45 degrees on the z-axis. And we use the same settings with the, there you go, yeah, with the raft. May as well. First of all, it's already set up. Let's see. I don't want some. I don't think I don't think there's anywhere where it would try to add supports. I'm gonna turn those off just to be sure. Prepare to print. This one is going to take 2 hours and 33 minutes. Let's see. Do I really need the raft for this piece? I don't think I do, because the bed's flat. It's gonna print flat, even if I don't have it set perfectly. It'll still be flat, even if it squishes a little bit. I don't intend for it to squish a little bit. I think I have it set pretty nicely. All right. And again, let's check out the print path here. Let's play it. Maybe? Oh, I have to go. Yeah, okay. Go in there, and you can see it's starting to show the gaps. Oh, there's some gaps here in the file, but let's see. Tiger says if it didn't warp, don't need the raft. Yeah. Let's see. Matt says this video is way better than his wife's LuLaRoe leggings videos where people are showing you clothes out of their closet. Don't tell I said that. Oop, maybe I shouldn't have read that. um, yeah, I don't know. There's some strange stuff out there, but whatever. So you can see here. Oops, back up a little bit. Show this to you. You see how this has a little notch right here? And it's got this little lip right there. That's so when the lens slides in, and rotate it just a hair, and it snaps in there, so it doesn't fall out. So that's gonna print up there. Huh, interesting. Oh well, that's fine. It's kind of cool. And then there's the extra little angled support piece there. And right here is where a little dab super glue is going to go, and that's going to be great. So save. Let's see. This is 2 hours and 13 minutes. Again, it's going to take less than that, or more than that. But let me see if I rotate this back so it's not 45 degrees and see how much of a time difference that is. 90. Was it before? 245? So 30-minute difference? Interesting. Or no, it was at 45 degrees is what it was. That's actually 2 minutes shorter by the estimated time that is always too short. But material cost, 74 cents. That's not bad. So let's save this. Yep, G-code files. Save the arm. Make sure we get 2 files in there. Yep. I don't know. I made sure, but we got two files there. Right. What's next? Let's do the wing nut. Oh, Tiger says change the infill to 12%. Oh, for the larger pieces. Oh, yeah, that makes sense because we needed more support on pins, but not necessarily the other. So it's a great idea, and I'm obviously open to suggestions. If anybody in the chat has any ideas other than like, put my name on it so that everybody will see my name. Let's see, go down to 12%. Now it says 1 hour and 44 minutes. Look at the difference here. See how much wider the gap in the grid is at 12% versus 30%. Save over it. Right. That. Let's get which top first. Oh no, I was doing the wing nuts next. Wing nuts. Two of them. I think I'm gonna go ahead and print an extra set, just in case I mean, I don't think I'm gonna break that. That's a pretty thick chunk of plastic there. Let's see, Tiger. Are you asking? Let's see, honeycomb fast or wiggle? For my infill, I'm currently set to rectilinear. Um, is the fast honeycomb or the wiggle better support there? What are your thoughts on that? Let's see. That looks alright. Tiger says rectilineum or what? The current selection is not his favorite. Okay. Let's see. I was partial to the honeycomb before. And he says yes, that's better. That's why bees use it. Right. Switch over to fast honeycomb. And the external is still rectilinear. Yes. There are things going in the chat that I'm not going to repeat right now. Let's see. I'm gonna give the wing nuts back to the 30% infill just because they're gonna get a lot of use in theory. Let's see what that looks like. So notice the flat edge here. In previous print, the angles are on that side, which is what caused the sharpness. The angles were on the swooping up. So that's a better design piece there, I believe. All right, that looks good to me. Yeah, that's fine. Wing nuts. Let's see. Go back. Do the arm one more time. Why not solid wing nut? Wouldn't that be stronger? Um, Not necessarily. Uh, it would definitely take a lot longer and take a lot more plastic, but it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't need to be super strong. These were just too. Let me switch here and here. These were just too thin, which is why it snapped. So I made it thicker. And this is already because of how thin they were, and with the 5 solid layers, it was pretty solid as it was. I know it's not really focusing very well there. Sorry, but and Tiger asks, "Are you still using 5 outer layers and shells?" Yes, still using 5. Here, rotate again. The axis 45 degrees. The setting's already still here for the infill on the fast honeycomb. Process 1. 2 hours 13 minutes. Still. That. Right. Export the arm again. Third arms the charms. No, third. Whatever. Right. Let's see. So we've got the wing nuts. We've got the pin. We've got the arms. Now we need the 2 hinges. Hinge bottom. It's a big one. Oh, um, previously Tiger suggested that we add some holes to the bottom hinge piece, and I haven't done that yet. So print the top hinge first, and then look at the bottom hinge back in Tinkercad. So for this one, I'm thinking off of this side would be the best printing angle. If let's see, Matt had asked, why not a solid wing nut? Wouldn't it be stronger? Whoops. And Tiger also replied, he said the threads do all the work and they're not hollow, regardless of the infill setting. Yeah, so the reason some of these broke were because I had the gap inside the wing nut was too small. And so I was really like giving it some torque and they were snapping off. And usually, I mean, I broke that one piece earlier, right? But usually it's not going to have um, pressure against the this angle, right? So um, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Okay, so anyway, I think this one would print best this direction. Um, I I'll let it run supports. It'll just go between the these hinge pieces here and inside the little charging wire hole, and those will break out pretty easily. Might do some here. That should be fine. I can clean that out and sand it down if I need to for the arm to fit. Let's see. Let's look at whoops, not vase settings. Process 1. Look at the support settings. Support infill 25%. The support infill percentage is how much gap there's going to be with the like how much is trying to fill the space in between, right? So there's the gap between the two sections. How much of that is going to be full? If you did 100%, it would be solid plastic, which would be crazy because then I don't think you could break that out. But 25% I think is the default setting is, and I've just always left it at that. Also, since this is a dual head 3D printer, I could use a different material on the other extruder that was something like water soluble or something that would just like melt away. But I don't have anything else besides the plastic filament, and The couple of times I've tried to use both heads, I've had problems with it lining up correctly and stuff, and haven't messed with it any more on that. Maybe in a future episode, play with some of that. Tiger says that orientation will give you the cleanest hole. Yes. So, I'm just gonna let it default generate supports, and we'll take a look at it. See what it, oops, where to print. Looks like here. So you can see these kind of square chunks here that it filled in support material. Let's see, did it put any here? Yeah, filled in here too. Be able to pull that out, and it did some in the charging hole as expected. See, did it do any right here? I don't think so. So it looks pretty good. 5 hours and 32 minutes. Or probably be more like 7 hours or something. This is a pretty expensive piece. $1.72. Oh, you know what? I think the infill is still set to 30. It is. Take that down to 12. Right. So now it's $1.30. Still. All right. Let's see. Let's preview this. Another preview thing is, oh, it's going slow. That's why. So it's going to start doing the shells and filling in. It's too slow. See the honeycomb pattern there. And you can see here where it's starting to build up the support structure. Let's see, Matt says, gotta go to bed, have fun. This all looks pretty cool. Can't wait to see the final product. Thanks for stopping by. For anybody that doesn't know, that's my little brother. And he lives on the East Coast, so it's 11:30 for him. So it's getting kind of late for him. So anyway, you can see here the support structure is building up here until it reaches to the point where the little phone shelf is, and there's the solid shell. And it starts with the infill. So, and those hinge holes are pretty nice there. Nice and round. Let's see, is there any? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, there's not any support structure here. It's too small of a gap, I guess. See some here and some here. Able to clean out just fine. And see back here between the spot where the hinges connect, you can see it building out the support structure in between. So that, remember, we talked about before how you can't just print in the middle of nowhere because it'll sag and be messy. And I had that little like bird's nest of wad of plastic from where I had a failed piece. So the support structure gives it that base to work off of and break it out pretty easily. So that looks good. Hinge top. Okay, for the hinge bottom, toolpath successfully exported. Okay, for the hinge bottom, I'm gonna go back into Tinkercad for a minute because um, as we previously discussed, we don't need all the plastic in the base. We should add some holes to it. See where the base go. This one, and potentially, it'd be a little spot for the extra lenses to hang out. Let's see. For that, I think I'm gonna make a copy of the arm. Ungroup all this because I want to get to this hole again. Group, ungroup, ungroup. Here we go. This one. Here we go. Delete all that mess. So I know that this whole size for the lenses to rest in. Um, so if I can get a couple of these to fit around here, maybe I don't know, 6 on this side or something. Um, that's a good spot. Actually, yeah, 6 is how many little holders are in the lens tray, plastic tray thingy that they come in. So if we can get 6 to fit there, then that'll hold all the extra lenses. Nice. So, let's see. So I'm going to just go ahead and make these longer. Oops. Yeah, cool. Okay. Let's see. If I want these to be relatively evenly spaced. Let's see, we've got 4 viewers right now. If anybody has any suggestions, comments, wants to say hello, or wants to continue to lurk, that's fine too. Just trying to finish up this design so we can move on to other projects. It's been fun. But can't spend forever on it. Let's see, align these guys here. Nice. Come on. There we go. First. And then copy the group. So over here. Let's see. Looks pretty good. Cool. And since that's the same hole that the lenses connect into on the wider side, I know that they'll sit in there pretty nicely. Let's see if I group that. Oops. Didn't mean to grab the arm. Tiger says, looks good. Tiger. And I could remove a little more on this side too. Once it's all put back together, it the extra holes will be on the back side, so the phone will lean forward away from the extra holes. But it's still there's not anything going to be in the way there or anything. That copy that group. May as well use the same size. Group, you can do it. Oh, apparently I didn't delete the group. There we go. All right, so that's going to use a lot less plastic, and it gives a handy dandy place for the lenses to hang out. It's not in use. Let's see. Tiger says use the scribble and do something artsy. Okay. See, maybe on this side instead of those 3 holes, do something with the scribble. I've never actually used the scribble tool. See how this works. Oh wow. Okay. Cool. Is there a way to adjust the preview? Nope. All right. So it's kind of interesting. Tiger says adding those last 3 make it look too much like Swiss cheese. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. So I see how this works. Let's see. I just want to erase all of this right now. Yep, get rid of that. Let's start over. That's kind of a weird way for that eraser tool to work. Okay. Let's see. We should give this phone holder magnifying thingy a name. Let's see, any ideas? See if I can get some kind of strange thing going on there. Since this is to view things, this is kind of a weird little maze eyeball amoeba thing, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of goofy looking. Should think just it's off. The scribble tool is pretty cool. Let's see. Kind of a. I don't like the shape eraser, but okay. So let's see. Let's go out here. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Undo all that. Let's go back a few. Far back can it go? That's kind of cool. It's out here. That's weird. Let's see. So there's a place in the Ozark Mountains. The name of it is not something I can remember off the top of my head right now. But it was like some kind of a art colony thing in the 70s and 80s, I guess. Um, anyway, we were going through the Ozarks on the pig trail, and my wife had always wanted to stop there, and we went there, and there was all kinds of really cool stuff. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Bluebird of Happiness. This is where the little slag glass bluebirds are made, as well as a bunch of other interesting things. There's a lot of very obviously Tolkien inspired artwork and stuff out there. But in they have this big field and all kinds of like an art garden or whatever. And oops, snuffed the green screen. And in one back corner there was a rock maze, um, which was pretty cool. And it there was one path that you could circle around and get to the whole place and whatever, and get to the center of it. Um, but it was like the rocks were only, you know, a foot tall, so you could actually just step over it if you wanted to. But um, it's kind of a similar little sort of shape to that. Anyway, let's see. I'm gonna stick with that for now and see what that looks like. Tiger says kind of looks like a cinnamon bun. So yeah, maybe we'll look at a cinnamon bun through the microscope thingy. See, will this stretch and stuff too? Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, I don't like that, but that's kind of cool that it just makes the mesh. Huh, interesting. I like the scribble tool. Thanks for the idea there, Tiger. All right, let's see if it kind of looks like a thumbprint too, or a fingerprint. That's kind of cool. Which also is uh, something I had looked at using the lenses. Tiger's is kind of like a mitochondria. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Um, or a slice of a brain. Let's see. Yeah, if I do this and flip this axis, come on, there we go. That over. It kind of looks like the two hemispheres of the brain, but just a slice out of the middle of it. That's kind of cool. Just gonna go with the one. And I want to. Oh yeah, Tigers is like a dividing cell. Oh yeah, kind of like. That's cool. See if I can. Good spot so it'll print. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna group that, and I want to align that to the base piece here. And let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Tiger says no. The dividing was cool. There's about a 45-second delay there. So yeah, I put it back. Breaking the fourth wall here. Oh, by talking to you, not by the problems with the green screen. Um. Okay. Let's see. Tiger, do you think this should be? I like it raised here. Let's see. It could also be a hole, but I think that's gonna lose some of the detail, or not really detail, but lose some of the look. Let's see. I wanna. This needs to come up a little bit though on the axis so it's not poking through the bottom. Yeah, that's cool. Just a little bit tall. I don't know, how tall is it? 10 millimeters. Where did my calipers go? Right there. It's a pretty good height. Maybe I'll go down to 5. Yeah, I'll take that down to 5 on the height instead of 10. And I will maybe 5 above this base opposed to 5 total inside. Yeah. And then Tiger says to the left side, make a square, triangle, and circle holes. Oh, put this on the left. Then a square. triangle, circle holes. See, makes cells as holes about half into the base. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Drop down about so far. About that's a little more than half. There. Let's see to the left side. Then make a square, triangle, and circle holes. Oh, I kind of like that in the middle. Let's see what all that looks like right now. It's kind of cool. I think I grabbed the arm piece too on that. Let's see. Tiger says, yeah, in the middle by itself. He agrees. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. A little design. All right. Enough with the fun stuff. Let's group this, export it, drop it into the Simplify 3D. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Export. Select shape, STL. Go over here. This is the hinge bottom. And drop it in. That's cool. See, I think I want to get a better look at this while it's printing, so I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees on the z-axis, just so I can get a better look at it. That'll be in the front. Let's see. It's fine. You know, though, if this printed this way, then these hinge holes are going to be perfect. Which is kind of important, because that's what's connecting the two together. I don't know, Tiger. What do you think? Should which orientation should this be printed at? This way, I know there's going to be some additional supports in the holes, but those can pop out just fine. There'll be some in between the from the base to the hinge here, hinge hole in between the hinge holes, and that's fine. Do the other way. Back. Oops, wrong one. Both of them. There. Back this way. These aren't going to be very round. It's going to have to build up as it goes. And it's probably going to need supports inside, which are going to be harder to clean that out real good. So let's see. Like here. And Tiger says that should work if you have good adhesion. If not, add a raft. Um, I've generally been having really good adhesion, um, but it's not gonna hurt to add a raft. So by adhesion, it means actually sticking to the bed, the print bed. See center no range. See what that looks like. Yeah, the supports here is expected. See, are there any supports inside the little artsy piece? 'Cause if so, that would be really difficult to clean out. Uh, yeah, it looks like it's filling in. Hmm. I'm not so sure how well the mitochondria design there is going to turn out. It's full of supports. Zoom in here. Remove travel moves. Whoops. Too far, too far. Okay, gotta zoom back out. Zoomed in too far. I don't know. I think that's going to be a pretty tight fit. Um, but it's printed flat. Then we lose the accuracy on the hinge holes. So I think what I'm going to do. You know what? That'll be fine. I've got some knives and pins and whatever. I can I can get that stuff worked out there. Um, Alternatively, I could manually put supports, but if it thinks it needs the supports there, it probably needs them. Otherwise, it's gonna sag and stuff. Oh, Tiger actually says turn off the auto supports and manually add the supports. Let's do auto supports. And add new support structure. So this will put a few around in here. And some here on the bottom. Oops. Ah. And inside here, let's do a few in here. These will still turn out all right, probably. I can always sand in there if I need to as well to work some of that out. Right. So manually told it where to add the supports. So we'll see how this ends up printing without them. Let's see. Tiger says maybe just one in the middle of the circles. Oops. Sure. So yeah, because they don't have to be perfect. Clean out. We need to. Because even if it sags a little bit of sanding in there will work out just fine. So I don't know. We'll see how this piece turns out. Without the supports, there may be some sagging in there, but it'll still probably look pretty good. And let's see here. Do I need? Looks all right. Add just a couple back. But I don't want it touching that back side so that it fuse. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not touching there. Back there. Right. Down here at the bottom. Right about there. Nope, not there. Let's see. Uh, there we go. Looks pretty good. Tiger says good catch inside. Yeah, I've done the manual supports before and missed it in a critical place behind the other supports, and there were issues. All right, so let's see how that goes. Print. Oh yeah, turn on the supports because I added them. Only 7 hours and 7 minutes. See there. Yeah, so we've got those inside supports here to catch that as the hinge piece comes out. And again, let's see. I'm going to add one more right there just to be sure. Right. Set it again. Hey, that added 2 minutes. Cool. This says it's going to use $2 worth of plastic. All right. Well, looks good to me. This is the hinge bottom. So let's see, we have the arm, hinge bottom, hinge top, the pin, wing nuts. That's everything. Cool. So I'll copy those over to the SD card, and over the next week, get those printing. Like I said, I moved the 3D printer over to the shelf, and that has given some additional room here on the desk. Do some stuff right now. It's kind of a mess because it's just a pile of the broken pieces. But I've got some other stuff coming up that we'll look at. I have some Raspberry Pis in these nice 3D printed cases that I had set up at my old place. One of them has a web server on it. One of them has a family digital family calendar thing connected through Google Google Calendar, and sets up, gives a nice display instead of having to have a wall calendar that you're constantly updating. Whatever, you can add in your phone. A bunch of cool little projects with Raspberry Pis. Um, I want to give Octoprint another shot on the 3D printer. Um, the one time I tried to set it up before, I did not have Selfish installed on the CTC. It was still using the stock Chinese firmware, and there were all kinds of weird issues. The Z-axis was flipped, and um, even when I adjusted the settings so that that was correct, the homing was off by like, I don't know, something crazy like 30 millimeters or something. It was nutty. So it would always just be like printing in the air and thinking it was working correctly. Which I think that was a problem with communication with the old firmware. Um, right now it's running Selfish 7.7. Um, so I give that a shot. I did have the 3D printer connected to my desktop computer, but it's a few years old, and sometimes I think I have issues with the USB ports. So the printer was locking up in the middle of a print, and so I had my security camera and Wi-Fi plug that the 3D printer is on, so that I could watch it, and if anything happened, I could shut it down. Um, Also, I've been using the vase mode inside of Simplify 3D for a few things. Have some bottles around the house and stuff. Um, Made some pill bottles for. I've got some potassium and caffeine pills and stuff that I carry with me to work. So those look cool, little like wizard bottles or whatever. But um, I've printed two iDream Genie bottles. One of them in a red and one of them in a green. I want to get some purple filament and do another one. And I want to try something. Now that I kind of understand how the vase mode stuff works, um, I want to try out some other prints as well. But I want to try and print the iDream Genie bottle uh, actual size, so I don't have to cut the model into 3 or 4 pieces. But once the bottom curve prints, I want to pause it, and then I can drop the z-axis, and I want to take a picture of Barbara Eden from the show, where sometimes, I don't know if you ever watch I Dream of Jeannie. I'm sure Tiger has. Um, every once in a while they would look down in the bottle and she would be like looking up, waving. Um, so I'm going to take a still image of that and glue it in the bottom of it, and then raise the z-axis back, resume the printing, and finish that section of it. And then once all the sections are finished, glue them together, and then you can take off the lid, look down inside, and you can see Genie down there. Um, let's see, some other programming projects coming up too. A few episodes back, discussed some we did some brainstorming about. I have a current .NET website that's spinning off into a WordPress website, and then but some of the .NET functions need to stay, and creating separate individual sites for those under subdomains and whatever. I'm not really going to stream doing the work there. We did the brainstorming. That was the most interesting part. Doing the work part of it isn't really that interesting. I don't think. Anyway, um, I did. I took down my old website, jeremysouthard.com, and installed a WordPress instance and picked out a theme. I'm gonna start posting the episodes there, as well as some other articles and things I've written with various hardware hacking stuff and 3D printing and programming and all this other kind of stuff. One tutorial I've put together is installing the LAMP stack on Raspberry Pi. So Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, so that you could run like your own WordPress website just off of a Raspberry Pi. Um, and things like that. So some other fun stuff coming up. Tiger says we can do a one-piece bottle on my CR10. So Tiger has a Creality CR10, which is a at the time it came out, what, like 2 years ago, year and a half ago, something like that. It was the biggest print area that you could purchase for like the 500 under $500 range. They've got, I think, two updates since then, and one of them is even bigger at like 20 inches by 20 inches by something. Um, but I don't remember the exact dimensions of CR10, but it was pretty close to that. Um, but he's saying we could do a single print of the I Dream a Genie bottle, just like make it massive, which would be kind of cool. Um, Tiger's got some pretty cool stuff. He's made too some uh, Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy planters, um, all kinds of uh, smaller pieces like statues and things like that, and then also some giant pieces where it's like, I don't know, you've got the um, head of Celine, the horse head piece that I think, what was it like? I'm gonna just throw a number out there, like 20 pieces, 3D printed each individual, and then glued them all together. And then Tiger does really good at finishing them. Um, my stuff, I just kind of pick a color and hope that color fits well. um, Tiger does really good with the finishing the pieces with some nice paint job and all that kind of stuff. So, as he said, he wants to co-host one of these days, and we'll have to get together and we can do some cool stuff. Or let's see, what else he said. Okay, it was 29 pieces for the statue horse head, and it was over 300 hours just to print it. It's crazy stuff. Tell you what, I will, once I get this episode listed on my website, jeremysouther.com, I will get some pictures from Tiger to post there, and you can see some of that stuff too. Um, and yeah, Tiger, we'll have to hook up and do something soon. Uh, cool. Well, I think that's gonna do it for this evening. Um, if you have any questions, comments, critiques, let me bounce across the screen here, etc., etc., you can leave a comment, contact me through YouTube, um, also on Facebook, Jeremy Southard. Uh, I'm gonna have the website. You go there now. Actually, I can show you since we're talking about it. Go to jeremysouthard.com. Right now, it's just blank with the new theme. It's gonna look great, and I'm gonna post a bunch of stuff here, including the videos. So be sure to check that out. And like I said, for episode 7, I'll include some pictures and links from Tiger, so you can see some of his good stuff too. It's amazing what he's done. And also coming up, I am hoping to uh, finish putting together the resources I need to finish out the garage, making a nice enclosed shop. Um, and then we're going to be looking at some new tools. I do want to get one of the big CR10s. Tiger says the original CR10 is 12 inches by 12 inches by 14 inches. The latest one is like, I think, 20 by 20 by 24. Um, I also want to get a CNC machine. I had started using the Shipoko at the Makerspace back before last year, back before everything flooded. Um, it's a really nice setup, and there's three different sizes, so it's easy to start kind of small and then expand as learn and need the resources. So I know Tiger's got one too. Um, I helped him with one of the upgrades on his, going from the XL to the XXL, I think. But maybe we can get together and talk about some CNC stuff as well. Um, with the setup we had at the makerspace, I was starting to work on some custom PCBs, starting with a copper plate and designing the traces and everything, and using the CNC to mill it out. Like to get back into that, get back to that stuff. There's some fun things that can be done there. Um, so all kinds of great stuff coming up. Please, if you like what you see, feel free to like and subscribe. Um, I try to do a not try to. I am doing a live stream every Thursday starting at 9 p.m. Central Time. Unless there's technical issues like tonight, and I had software updates and whatever, and didn't actually get started until 9:30. But 9 p.m. Central Time, Thursday nights, and may have an ad hoc episode every once in a while. But that's the general plan. So I guess that does it for tonight. And have a good night. Have a great weekend coming up, and Columbus Day. I know schools are out, so there's always fun to be had. So I guess. Oh, and I was talking with a friend about the stream here, the show, and I think in one of the episodes I want to actually write a theme song for the show. Um, multi instrumentalist. I've got a bunch of guitars and basses and stuff. Got a couple of musical ideas I've been kicking around too. So maybe one of these episodes, break out some instruments and actually write some write some music and put together a little theme song. And then whenever the screen is saying, you know, streaming soon or whatever, live stream starting soon, have the little theme song playing or something, add a little flair to it. But anyway, cool. Thanks everybody for hanging out. You know, please if you have any questions or comments, critiques, whatever, just reach out in the various places and have a wonderful night. Nope, I'm still here. Obviously, I'm still working on some details here too. Let's see. All right, have a good one.